Page 19, contrary motion. All right, you look this over and oh good grief, it looks terrible. The notes are going crazy. Well, yeah, I know it looks terrible. However, let's get into it and let me explain some things. You see, the way our brains are wired, the way we're wired, we naturally want to mirror the hands. Well, that is contrary motion. So, that's contrary. When they go opposite each other, that's contrary. It's when they go the same like that, that's parallel. We don't like parallel. Parallel's hard, and that's what you're doing in the scale videos. I hope you're doing the parallel up and down. That's hard. The contrary is pretty simple. Basically, you let one hand, either hand, lead, and the other hand just follows. It just uses the same fingers. However, let's go through this and see what's happening. Going to go through my routine here. It's 4 lines long, treble bass clef. We're in the key of C major still, so make sure you're doing the C major scale and all that too. 3/4 time signature, and we got quarter notes all over the place with a few dotted half notes stuck in. And the rhythm is the same in both hands. So take one hand at a time. Let's see what we got. Right hand, you're starting here. Now put your hand here. As far as I can tell, you're not moving around. Therefore, you don't need any of these other finger numbers. Please don't be reading finger numbers. Read the notes. It's here. Connect everything. It's pretty simple for me, anyway. You just go through the whole thing, work it out, then do the same with the left hand. The left hand, you're down here. And again, you're not moving around, therefore you don't need any other finger numbers here. Read the notes. It's here. Now again, with the weight, my technique for using this. I teach most of the technique for this in the scale video, but I'll cover some here. I let the weight of the hand and the arms push the notes down. It doesn't take much weight. And depending on how loud or soft I'm playing, it depends on how much weight I'm going to use. So it's a controlled weight. So at the beginning when I do this, I'm just lowering the hand, and whichever finger is down, that's the finger that gets the weight. But I'm not pushing it down with the finger. I'm not trying to hold the hand still and use the finger. I'm not. I don't recommend it. Let the weight do that and collapse the wrist a little bit. And then the next one, I'm just shifting the weight to the next finger. And then the next finger, shift the weight from finger to finger. It's like when you're walking. You're shifting weight from leg to leg. Same thing here, but I got 5 legs. And I can shift weight from any finger to any finger at any time, or any combination of fingers. It works out very well. So I'm here, and then I'm going to move the weight to this finger, and then weight to this finger. And how much weight depends on how loud it is. If I do a little bit of weight, it comes out very soft. If I add more weight, it starts getting louder. It depends on how much weight, how heavy I want. And so here, when I go to put the hands together, I'm using the same fingers in each hand. That's why it's contrary. And I'm shifting weight this way. This is a good exercise for this because you can get into the weight control and shift thing. And what I do in this kind of a piece is I let one hand or the other play, and I just let the other hand go. I just play in the same fingers. I'm only thinking about one hand. It works out really well once you get a hang of it, but then most things do. Right? Okay. Anyway, go through very slowly and get the hands working together. And again, work on this weight thing. Let the wrist collapse with each note if you have to. But don't tense up and play with stiff wrists, please. Keep the wrist a little bit loose here. When you go slow, you can collapse the wrist on every note. It's when you speed it up, you take notes in groups, then you only collapse the wrist in so many groups. For instance, in 3/4 time, maybe I'm only going to collapse the wrist on the first beat of each measure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, like so. It's good practice. And I picked the first beat of a measure on purpose because I could have picked anything. Because the first beat of a measure is the strongest natural accent there is. And you think, natural accent? What? An accent is when you play a note a little louder. For piano it is, because a piano can't do a true accent. We just play the note a little louder. Well, a natural accent is simply an accent that happens naturally. You play it a little louder, it's by feel. Well, in music, we have natural accents. Then the first beat of a measure is always the strongest natural accents. You feel that. When you're dancing to the natural accents. We feel this in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Just feel this. It's like a waltz. Well, that one gets just a little more sound than the others. And so that's where I was collapsing this. It helps to give the natural. It makes it feel like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You don't force it. You force a regular accent, but a natural accent, you feel it. And that's after you've learned the notes and you've got things under control and you start feeling the music, you feel the natural accents. We're getting into interpretation here, but we got to talk about interpretation because it's really important. The music doesn't tell you everything. You got to add the rest of it, and that's interpretation. And different people will do it differently. They'll interpret the same piece differently, and I think that's great. I'd hate it if everybody had to always play this thing exactly the same way. Just do what the music tells you to do, and you feel it as you feel it. Here, they don't give any dynamics. There's no articulation. There's no slurs or nothing. I suggest you go ahead and put in the phrasing. If you can figure out where the phrases are, where are the musical sentences? It's like the first 2 lines was a sentence. Rather long sentence, but it's a sentence. So at the end of the second line, lift up. Just a little lift up. It's like taking a breath. Here, and in both hands here, of course. And then the second 2 lines is going to be a sentence too. So I'm going to connect the first 2 lines together. I'm going to lift up. And then we'll connect the second 2 lines together for the articulation. Dynamics, they don't give you dynamics. Just play it. Don't worry about dynamics. You can do both hands about the same here too. Speed, well, it's up to you. It's a steady. Go as slow as you got it to go to get this. If you're going to go that slow, clap the wrist on every note. Don't play with stiff wrists. Let the wrist go. You don't have to clap them a lot. Don't hurt yourself. It's just a little claps. Relax. We got to stay relaxed when we play piano. At the end, it's not contrary anymore. They changed it. There at the end, the last 2 notes, here and here. You're not using the same fingers in each hand. They threw you a curve. They do that sometimes. Let's play this together slowly and double check the notes and all. I don't think the rhythm's a problem. It's mostly quarter notes. I'll give us 2, 3 counts because it's in 3 or 4 times. 1, ready, go. 2, 3.